So you talk about mapping the emotional landscape. This is a concept that I'm not very familiar with. What do you mean by this mapping of the emotional landscape?
This is an interesting notion of looking at our emotional world as a big picture. We tend to experience emotions one at a time. It's like they happen to us. We rarely feel like we're the authors of our feelings. Instead, we kind of go through life and, oh, that made me happy, oh, that made me sad. We just have these experiences that we call emotions. And of course, there are things in our life that feed us. They give us energy and they give us interest and passion and they make us feel good. And then there are other things that seem to just kind of suck the life away from us. They bring us down and make us unhappy. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to take a way to look at that in the whole, take a big picture, like look at the forest rather than those trees. And so what I did was I listed those people that have an effect in my life. So in my case, I'm single. So I didn't have a spouse, but I have very dear close friends. I have business associates. I have caregivers at the hospital. I have a whole range of people, just like anyone else. I listed them. And then what I did was I just simply attributed a numerical scale, 1 to 10, and in order to capture what I got from them. So a 2 is, that person's not giving me a whole lot. Okay? And 8, boy, that person's very important in my life, very profound, and they're really providing a lot. So what I did was then I looked at it across time. So I took the same list and I said, what did that look like before the diagnosis? First off, some people on the list weren't even there, right? They're new people that have come into my life. And some of those critical relationships that may have been in 8 or 9, because they were central to my life, maybe they've diminished some after the diagnosis, whereas others may have increased. So for example, in my case, I have some old friends, I mean literally going back to junior high and elementary school, that I've reconnected with through my blog, and for some reason the journey that I'm on with this disease has been the catalyst for improved communication. And so we've shared some wonderful moments. So that landscape has changed as a result of the diagnosis. And I found that to be a very interesting process, to look back in time, where was I X number of months or years ago, where am I now? And it might be interesting to look again in the future. But here's the interesting thing. While some of those primary core relationships had diminished, and I personally attribute that to myself. I think I wore out some of those relationships. I brought cancer into relationships no one asked for, and so that caused some estrangement with some of the people I'm closest to. But at the same time, new people came into my life. Now this requires us to have some flexibility and some openness about this, because what I found was, while some of those primary relationships diminished, the overall score, if I added them all up, is that I have more going on relationship and emotion-wise now in my life than I did before the catastrophic diagnosis. And that's been my subjective experience. It's like I went back and kind of did an analysis. Why do I feel so good about life this far into this disease? Well, this is one contributing reason, because I have more better quality relationships in my life now than I did before. I think that's fascinating. But it was before I did this activity, I didn't see any of that. I just like anybody else, plod through my day. I feel good, I feel bad, whatever comes my way. What this does is it gave me a way to look at that and realize, I've had to let go of some aspects of relationships, even let go of some relationships. And I've made room to open myself to new relationships. And what I didn't do was I didn't include my buddy Buster. It's my little dog who's my day-to-day companion. I didn't include inanimate things like the view from my window at my desk of the Flatiron Mountains above Boulder that I love. They feed my soul. So when you choose to do this activity, decide whether you want to focus just on people and relationships or anything that gives you a strong emotional connection. But it's a great activity to get a handle on this whole picture. I'm going to put a footnote on this too. And the footnote is recognition that relationships will change. Relationships will change. This is a social disease. Any catastrophic diagnosis has an effect on the people that surround the patient, those that the patient loves and are loved by. It's not unusual for marriages to disintegrate, for children and parents to become estranged. So this is a sad and not often talked about or discussed topic. And I don't know that I have a solution. There's no silver bullet, except this notion of transformation, of dealing with reality and being present and being as flexible and open to new ideas as you can. I'd like to think that by being open to newer relationships, that I've taken some of the pressure off of those primary relationships in my life, so that they're not broken, they're not irretrievably broken. They're still part of my life. And I think that may carry over even into intimate, interpersonal relationships such as marriages and family, etc. This is fodder for a lot more discussion.